Well, hey everyone, thanks for being here. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, email. Despite what a lot of people in Silicon Valley are saying, email is not dead, and in fact it's very much alive, and it's one of the most important marketing channels that there is. I'd love to open up this discussion with Sue. You have a mantra, ABC, always be connecting. I'd love to hear your take on how you view email as a channel to build a brand.
Right, not to confuse ABC with Alec Baldwin and Glenn Ross, but ABC to me, always be connecting, is always, it's not connecting from a standpoint. I think sometimes we get confused, or we tend to interchange connect with networking. And for me, it's not that way. Connecting is finding out, and I'm going to talk a little bit about social listening, because finding out about who you're emailing to, doing the research, listening to them, engaging with them. Because for email, I mean, we're all looking for that golden ticket, more subscriptions. But what we forget is there's the acquisition piece, and then there's the retention piece. And if we can't do both in a good way, we're not going to drive growth. So along those lines of always be connecting, always be enhancing the experience, because that's what you need. And there's going to be times where, you know, you'll start off doing the research, then doing what you need to do, you know, the research, the listening and the engagement and creating that content, but you still always have to go back to that voice of the customer to find out, do some type of validation. Am I on the right track? Do they want something different? Because if you're not always going down that path on the journey, then, you know, you're going to lose folks and defeat your purpose. Yeah.
So one thing I noticed there is losing track, keeping track. Email, of course, open rates. That's a commonly discussed metric. I think an opinion that's shared by most of the panelists that may not be the right metric to look at. And what should marketers be looking at if not open rates? PJ.
I agree with you. Like, open rates have become a vanity metric. I think 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we were looking at open rates in such a way that they were actually valuable. They were, you know, something that meant something. But now we don't, like, I care if people open my emails because there's so many, like, bots and things like that can, like, ruin that rate. What I care about is, like, click-through rate, and even more so site engagement post-click. Specifically, like, I work a lot in e-commerce specific email marketing verticals. Like, the sale is what I care about at that. So I think that it comes down to defining metrics, and that's going to be different for every business. I don't think it's wise to say everybody should be looking at one specific metric. I think if you're an editorial site, you should be looking at how many pages they explore post-click. If it's B2B, you know, maybe it's like get them to the next conversion point on the site. But really, like, better defined metrics that's hyper relevant to the business, I think, is where the future of measuring email success is going.
I want to add to that. I think I agree. Open rate is one metric. I mean, I think it's good to know what it is because we know people are doing it. But it's not all metrics. You need to go behind that. I think you really need to look into what's happening after and what is the site engagement. And I think that's kind of key. For me, we're an e-commerce company. At the end of the day, it sells, and it works. And it really, I think people are like, email is getting a bad rap. It's not working. It's not worth it. That's not true. If you do it right, your return on investment is actually really good because it's not that expensive to do email. And then you really have to look into knowing your audience. If you don't know your audience, this is not going to work. And try and test new things. And one thing that we tested that I was actually surprised by, you always try to, we want to sell. We say, who's going to tell me when we sell, this is what we need. So when I started at the company, a lot of the email were really, I'd say, here's my product, buy this, buy that. The people didn't even know us. They just signed up for our email. We're not really giving them anything. Who are we? Who am I as a company? What are you going to give me if I'm going to buy your product? And then we recently started testing using actually more soft sell. So our email about like social media, we're in the beauty industry, so what's happening in the engaging content. Surprisingly, out of that email, we actually got a really good amount of sales. We didn't expect it. So try this type of thing, it really works.
Content seems to be a commonly, it's a common discussion point amongst marketers across all channels. Is there any other tactics or strategy you're using to develop that content?
So that's a bit of a challenge, as you say. We're a small company, don't have a lot of people, we don't have, so I have a social media manager who's really good at coming up with different type of content, which we're actually trying to leverage what we do on social. We're bringing it within our email to try to get people engaged, but it is definitely, it is not easy. And I think as a small company, you need to be nimble. If you are writing a blog and, for example, you have a great article, reuse that. Share it within your email, put it in your streams, things like that, try to create it. I mean, I wish I could actually, hire more people, work with companies like yours to get more like content, but, it's definitely key. You have to engage your audience.
Sure. PJC nodding along. How do you approach content?
That can mean a number of different things for a number of different companies. Approaching content is very, very important because you have to know your audience, you have to know your product, and know who you're selling to. So you can't. It's not a one-size-fits-all, approach to content. And if we're talking about, content like infographics and cool, engaging content, or we're talking about email content, that's another discussion. So is the question regarding just general user content, or is the question more along the lines of email content?
I think emails specifically, yeah.
Yeah, so email content, you really want to make sure that, what's the goal of the email? Is it to drive sales, to drive awareness, is it are you nurturing? And that kind of content, is very, very important to who the email list is going out to and what the goal of the email is. So if you're a software company, let's say you're a SaaS company, and all the content you put out on your blog and all the content you put out is related to that to that field of study, you could actually use email to subscriber-only content. This content is not going on the blog; it's for our emails only. You have to click something, you have to click a link and download it off of the email. So if there's a little bit of that protection window there, there's a little mystery around the content. So that's a way for like a SaaS company to use email. For an e-commerce company, content really it's just about what's the product, what's the sale, and how quickly can I convert and buy the item. So it really comes down to knowing the audience and what the overall goal is.
When we were talking right before this panel, PJ actually turned me on to a really cool trick with regards to schema.
Yeah.
And do you want to maybe share that with the rest of the audience?
Yeah. So to give you guys a background, schema tags have been around quite a while, and also you might have heard the term structured data. Basically, what it is, it's a agreed upon set of markup that you put into websites that helps Google understand what the website is about. So organization, product, brand name, if it's in e-commerce, what the price is, whether it's in stock, if it has reviews. These are all things that you can mark up with schema. You might have also seen schema in search engine results. There's like site links. You can see if you search a brand name, there'll be 6 links underneath the search result, or there'll maybe even be a search box inside the search result. So if you search like a Zappos on Google, you'll see there's 6 site links underneath their name. There's a little search box. You can search Zappos from the Google search. That same markup actually is applicable to email, and it's a little bit more complicated. But you can put markup in email. So if you ever use like a Basecamp, or if anybody's ever emailed you a reservation, there's a little tag in your Gmail inbox for a review or for a reservation or RSVP, right?
Kind of thing.
So you could actually do that. You can tag your emails using schema, and they'll appear a little bit differently in the inbox. And sometimes just that slight difference of appearance is enough people go, "What's this? This might be important." I click it, so it's something else to make the email stand out. And then also, obviously, it's a properly marked up email it gives a better user experience. That's the purpose of why the markup exists in the first place.
Totally, and it seems like a great way also to enhance the user experience and
Exactly.
ultimately drive an action.
Exactly,
which
exactly,
You're always trying to do.
exactly.
Right, so one thing that I recently learned, or might not be a surprise to most of you, is that something like 70% of all emails get opened on mobile first. So what does it mean what does it mean to be prepared for mobile, and how should email marketers approach mobile? Sue, I think you have some thoughts on this.
I think as far as future, I mean, the direction is definitely there. One thing that when we're talking to startups and their website, we say, do you have responsive design? Because these small, early stage startups aren't big enterprise organizations that can have their own mobile play and their own desktop play. They need to have something that's a little bit versatile. So having that responsive, giving the same experience as you have on the desktop as you have on mobile. And as you pointed, I mean, I was just on a Twitter chat that Adobe does on digital marketing, and we were talking about holidays coming up. They had given me some interesting insights on when people are opening emails this week, well before Black Friday. But most of those emails and most of those behaviors are happening on mobile. So such things as, okay, you only have a small space. You want to make sure that the headline, your subject line is very tight, because you don't have that real estate that you have elsewhere. So having tight copy, having great visuals, your visuals, your images, and also looking at doing some in-app marketing with some of these apps. I know when I'm in the car, yes, my cell phone's on, I'm trying to watch the road, but Waze is a good example that they have things coming up as I'm driving by, so using that email through the in-app experience is something that email marketers should definitely leverage.
I want to add, from a technology perspective, I think it's very important that responsive design, from a website perspective, I mean, today you should really look at responsive design. Personally, we're moving toward that as well. We haven't done it in my company, it's in the process. But from an email perspective, it's the same thing. If you open, and you're absolutely right, 70% open it on mobile. If when you open it, it's not loading properly or it's not adjusted properly and you can't read it, you're wasted your email. So the technology and how it's coded and make sure it's coded to be opening properly on mobile is really important.
I think we had a question.
I just wanted to speak to that. She's exactly right. Both of you, all of you are exactly right. Just FYI, a great tool that I would recommend, and no, I don't get any compensation for this, is my former client called Mobile First. It's mobile and then the numeral 1, ST, Mobile First. They just launched a little sort of platform, a mini visualizer called Mobilizer. And Mobilizer permits you to type in the URL of your whatever product you're about to launch, or your website, and especially for Black Friday, very important, and see what it looks like across 16 different mobile devices. So, yeah, Mobile First, Mobilizer, and it's free. And they do have to, at some point they'll ask you, but you can get a free trial right away.
But you brought something up that's really important, and now I need to go check that out. Just because you're looking at Firefox.
Yeah, you might have a Chrome
as an
mobile
example.
experience and you're
Yeah.
bailing out of your shopping cart, and this helps you at least see what
You have to
people are
see them
seeing
all.
across
You have to.
Absolutely.
You have to do that
But
research.
you have to do your
Yeah,
Mobile.
we use a company called Browser Stack, which is doing, I think, something similar. That's both desktop and mobile, and they'll actually spin up a real phone somewhere in someone's closet to actually show you what it looks like, not just virtually, but actually on all the 300 different Android devices there are. But now that we're talking about tools, let's talk tools. I think there's obviously a huge industry around this, but before going into any more new tools, are there any existing products that you might already be utilizing that also do a good job with email? PJ, I think you have some thoughts there.
Yes, Google Analytics is definitely not a new tool, but it's absolutely necessary for email marketing. I think one of the quickest wins that email marketers can make is properly tagging their URLs for email campaigns so that they can segment the data within Google Analytics. From there, you can get a really clean look at pages per session, revenue per session. You get really clean metrics that are actually like driving bottom line things. Again, Google Analytics isn't new, but it's come a long way, and I think Google understands that there are a lot of web analytics platforms out there, and the tools that you can plug in with Google Analytics can really help you get some clean insights with your email, but you got to tag the email URLs correctly.
I would say also that, I think I agree with you, but from also, it's not really true, but from a template perspective, I mean, I don't know how many of you do, like, until now, my company, we are coding every single email, which is crazy, and it's not fast, and I want to be able to go faster, and when I see a trend, I want to be able to email that. If I have to code the email every time, it takes way too much time. So we're looking into now, it's building modular template. And again, some people are going to tell you, oh, a template, but then you're restricted. But there's a way of building them by module. So it's like, you might build 5 templates, but each template has a way of moving the module. So you end up with 5 templates, you have 30 different options. So if you know what you're going to, your stream, so I know that post stream and that I'm going to build for a certain product, I know what I'm going to have content, then I can do that. So now that I'm building those modular templates, I can easily send an email quickly without having to code again. So I think that's something to keep in mind moving forward on how we do email.
So
Yeah, we're talking about content, and I wanted to share, I have my little cheat sheet here, because I'm getting old and I can't remember all this stuff. But I don't know, those of you who know about Content Marketing Institute, it's contentmarketinginstitute.com. Well, they do annual, in conjunction with marketing profs, they've done annually 2 reports, and they have a B2B and a B2C report out now for 2017. It's either B2B or B2C marketing benchmarks and trends, and they also have other things for nonprofit and manufacturing and tech. But what I thought was really interesting in terms of email, the respondents to the survey said 93% said that they use email to distribute content, and 91% rated email the #1 importance to their overall marketing success. So it's really setting the framework that content is so important. So when I'm looking at tools, one tool that I absolutely love is the Hemingway app. I can put what I'm going to put into an email, put it into Hemingway app. It'll tell me what's being passive, what words I should use, how I should break things up. Google Analytics I absolutely love, and I like old standbys like our MailChimp application. Now, what MailChimp's doing is they have applications to help me determine what's the best subject line I should use, which words I should use. So it's kind of giving you that keywords tool from Google in an email situation, because that's bottom line. I mean, you want to have the right subject line for people to, opening is important. It is important to get it open, but then to see what's working. What's their behavior? Are they taking that next step? Are they downloading? Are they going to a landing page? Are they going to a white paper? Are they moving down the funnel? So all these tools that are helping to set up things for you on email. There's another website, VWO, I believe.
Visual Web Optimization.
Thank you. Visual Web Optimizer, what I absolutely love is the A/B testing tool that they have. Because I don't know about you, but whenever I'm doing an A/B test, I'm thinking, okay, I know what I want to test, but to get the results, how long do I really have to do the A/B test? How many people do I have to send it to? And it lets you put in what-if scenarios to tell you how long something's running. So I really like that tool as well.
Great. I think one trend that I'm noticing here is testing. And so when we as digital marketers, we can test all day long, every day, almost everything. How do you determine exactly what you should be testing and where the cutoff line is?
Are we starting with me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Because obviously subject line is very
yeah,
important.
subject line is very, very important. I think you need to start with the subject line. Another thing that I like, and I think it's Crazy Egg that does it, the heat map.
Yeah.
The heat map.
Yeah.
That where are people going to in your email? And those, it used to be the center left or top center or top left. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
top left. And looking at that, and then, okay, you have the heat map information going to test things. Like, where is the positioning of a particular ad?
The way I do it, I test definitely different subject line for see, but there's also you can test the day of the week and what time. So we found out for us on, and again, it's going to be different. Every time if you are on Sunday morning works really great for us. I said, well, I don't know, we get ready better than on Monday. But then another thing within your email is the positioning maybe of your call to action. Depends where you are. So sometimes I test having, is it better to have my message on the top and then my CTA below, or do I want to be more upfront? So testing also what works better. What we're saying before, soft sales, hard sales, we want to be in front of the face right away. And again, it would depend, I think, also on your segmentation. If it's someone who already purchased something with you, they know you as a brand, and they will actually, trust you more. So you might be able to have a harder sell with them or try to do a cross sell. But if someone that is prospect that never bought anything from your company, I think you have to be mindful of that and maybe providing them a different type of content that might not be as hot sell.
Sure. You mentioned segmentation. I know PJ over there has quite a few thoughts on how to take one list and then segment it back out. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, it's my jam. We've seen loads of success with that. It takes so much front-loaded work to segment the list out. Let me talk about an example. So I work with a company that is a supplement company. So the benefit of a supplement company is if it's a good product, people are going to buy your supplement again. It's not like a baby's crib that you buy on Amazon. If you have another kid 5 years from now, you're not going to come back and buy a crib. So there's a benefit to that. But what we do is they've got a popular product that probably like 80% of their audience is buying this one product. They offer about a dozen more. So what we've done is we've segmented the audience to figure out who's bought what, how much they spend, and how often do they buy. We assign a score to that and basically determine how often we send them the next email and which email we send. So it took about a month of every day going in, writing emails, editing the URLs. Again, only every email has only a single call to action. We don't want to muddle it up. But the success that we've seen is we're re-engaging users that were not buying with us and ultimately netting profitable on emails again, which has been really cool. And hyper-segmenting the list and hyper-segmenting the content that got sent to them. Each email goes to a different deep landing page. I mean, the email itself, maybe 150 words of copy, but the landing page, 800 words deep blog post with a call to action. And we segment that based on the list. And we've seen a lot of great returns on that. But a lot of marketers don't want to do that because it takes a lot of time. And frankly, you just don't know, like, up front. There's a lot of risk to it. So that's what testing means to me. That's what optimizing the content means to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, taking a lot of time, I think everyone here is strapped for time. And one of the major initiatives that we've seen a lot of our customers pull through is more of the marketing automation, abandoned cart type emails, low latency, as PJ refers to them. What besides those kind of obvious scenarios are you seeing kind of an automated approach taken to email?
I'll take this. I'm sure a lot of people have thoughts. Real-time marketing, like cart abandonments. I think PJ, when we were talking, you brought up cart abandonment as well. Like real-time, make that decision. If somebody's been on a product page for 5 or 10 minutes, like they need to be in a campaign that sends them a soft offer for that product or send them a discount code, like right then and there. There's so much data that we have, and we're marketers. Like we should know we should be able to guess what the next step for people is. So making that in real time is a big thing.
Good point. So a company that does this really well is StubHub. If you've ever, and Ticketmaster, they both do that. So if you ever looked for concert tickets and you didn't get them when they first came on sale, and you check them on StubHub and they're way more expensive than you would have hoped, and then you don't end up buying them, you get an email from them every other day saying, don't forget your concert tickets. And it works. It works really, really well. I go to a lot of sporting events, and I usually just buy my tickets last minute. And sometimes the push notification will come up. So I'm from Orlando. I'm a Magic fan, and I get a push notification. Magic game at 7 o'clock. Don't forget your tickets. And it's 4 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, I did anything tonight? Yeah, I'll go to the game. So those cart abandoned emails and they work really, really well.
We do it as well. For those people that only can get an email about the product, we try to give you an offer or discount if you're going to buy it. One thing that also works pretty well is not necessarily just a cart abandonment. If you visited, so I have 2 products on the site, the hair removal and the anti-aging. If you visited the anti-aging section, and I have your email address, I can actually send you an email about the anti-aging specifically, because I know that's what you are looking at. So it's retargeting by product category, I guess. And you can even drill down. You can do a specific product or just a larger product category. So you can learn, and the way it works to site becomes, we work with Smarter HQ, and it becomes smarter. It learns also the behavior of the site and how to retarget them.
Oh, that's great. What the name of that was?
Smarter HQ.
Okay.
They're a really good company for retargeting, and they also do, it's not email, but it's for more behavioral retargeting on your website. If you actually, someone came to your site and didn't, they browse one category of product, they didn't do anything, they left. You don't have their email address, so you cannot email them. But if they come back, you can actually tailor and personalize the content of your site to be specific about the product that they came for, and offer them an offer if you want it, or something to try to convert them faster.
That's great. So a lot of the discussion today has been around email as a nurturing tool. But PJ had shared with me a technique where you can use your email list to grow your customer base and acquire new customers. Do you know that?
Right. So you can upload your email list to Facebook, and you can also upload your email list to Twitter. So both of these platforms have audience segmentation tools that allow you to upload a CSV, and that CSV can be your email list. And really, there's a world of possibilities here, and I'll give you guys a couple of use cases, and it's relatively new. So if you think of a use case, you can always try it. But one thing that works really well is sending target your audience on Facebook the same day you target your email blast. And it's important for a couple of reasons. One, everybody does email. There's a lot of tools for email, so a lot of emails get sent out. And just because somebody doesn't click on your email and does engage with the email doesn't mean the email doesn't have value. So they get a push notification with your email and they ignore it, but they see the brand name is in there. And then you hit them again on Facebook, and it's that impression targeting. You're just getting those impressions, and you're not paying a ton of money at the end of the day to get those impressions. So sometimes that secondary impression on Facebook may make them re-engage the email, or may make them click the ad. Another cool thing about Facebook is there's lookalike targeting. So you upload your email list to Facebook. They'll give you an audience profile for that email list, and then you can amplify that audience profile and reach new customers. So let's say you're a shoe company and everybody that buys your shoes is a middle-aged white woman from between the ages of 35 and 50. And you have 100,000. Let's say you have 100,000 of those emails. So you put those into Facebook. It'll build that audience segment out for you, and then you can reach more customers, and you can run traditional carousel or Facebook ads for customers that match your buying segment, because that's your email list of your known customers. So another cool way you can use social media.
You can do it with display as well.
Yeah.
If you didn't open your email, you can retarget people via display buttons.
Yep, that works as well.
What does Facebook do with my customer list? After
Oh,
that?
yeah.
I do it.
It's up to them.
So
Well, they already have the data.
doesn't go against our,
Yeah,
promise to our customers not to share their list.
They can share your list.
Yeah.
You're not-
I mean, they have the data. but they
They're
can't-
legally not allowed
They
to.
can.
What they choose to do with it, who knows, right? I don't know what they do. I don't know what Apple does with their data, but they're
Folds
legally
into
not
their
allowed to.
targeting for other customers.
Well, in this case, they would already have those
Yeah.
emails, because that's the only way they can do
You're
it.
just,
We're making magic.
it's just a convenient way to search your customers with a bulk upload.
Except for people that don't have Facebook.
Right, and for them, you just won't get data on them.
Right, okay.
But yeah.
It's the percentage
Like
match.
when you sign that thing that says, I don't share my list with anyone, to your customers. that-
Well, I think what that means is you're not giving it to a spammy company. You're not selling their email addresses for 5 cents an email. You're just re-engaging with your customers whose data that they voluntarily given to you.
Yeah.
The match on that is it could be as low as 20%, or I've never seen it higher than like 70%. With e-commerce, it's a little bit more. Because typically, with e-commerce, the email they use to check out is probably the same email that they use to register their Facebook account. With other things, with other more savvy industries, people have like a spam email address that they use. So it might not work as well. But it is a fair question.
Good question, and adding on to this discussion, one of the things that we were able to do similar to what you're talking about at GoDaddy is upload lists of detractors and suppress our ads from being shown to known detractors. It's a bit of manual labor. I have to give credit where it's due. We got the idea from Sprinkler, who built an ad module onto their platform so that if you're tagging brand detractors in Sprinkler through one of their rules, you can automatically suppress ads from being shown to detractors. This made a big impact for us because we spend a lot of time and resources empowering a social customer care team who, guess what, has to sit there all day long answering detractor complaints that are written on our display ads on Facebook. So if we could take those detractors out of their queue, not only are we not wasting the money on the detractors, but we save money and time on the social customer care side. It's kind of an inverse thing. My question is, on the other side of the NPS customer experience spectrum, have any of you played with targeting advocates or promoters from customer experience data, engaging them in some way in terms of nurturing the relationships, or doing anything fun and creative with that sort of targeting around NPS segments?
Talk to that. So I can answer like 80% of your question, but so we've done a campaign where we've identified our what we call like VIP customers, pretty much people that either spend twice to 3 times as much as your average person on the site. We've experimented with sending them more content, sending them content that kind of pushes them to be a brand advocate. We've invited them to join the affiliate programs and things like that to give feedback on stuff. So again, it's not something we send to the list. This only applies to maybe 9 to 12% of the list. But, I mean, we get like 80% open rates and like a lot of click-through rates and a lot of feedback. And that's valuable. And it's one of those things that takes a lot of front-loaded time, but it's valuable data. Like as a marketer, you get like really giddy and nerdy about the kind of data you get back from that. And valuable promotion too from actual influencers.
Great.
Yeah.
So we're working with, this is my partner, Stacy DePaulo. Little plug, we're doing an AdvoChat, Twitter chat. It's the first Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. Pacific time, that if you're on Twitter. But we talk about brand advocacy and customer experience a lot. I'm working with a educational organization that there's a lot of educators and they're very picky on the type of content that they want. And we've actually implemented NPS, so we know, who are the passives and the promoters and detractors. And we're actually taking that information and we're going to be starting their first brand advocacy campaign starting in January. But it's been very important. I know at the beginning I was talking about voice of customer and actually getting that validation. So the right type of surveying, the right type of questions are very important to see where that base is and engaging with them. And it's also a good tool to find out, okay, where might your brand advocates be? Not every client / customer is good for brand advocacy, but doing that, as Stacy's taking a picture of me about this, doing that actually saved us a lot of time to find out who those advocates are, and now we have a campaign specifically for that.
Talking about advocacy, actually one thing I think is also important you can do via email. I mean, we all know we only, if you, in e-commerce, you need reviews. As people, they talk about your product. For us, we definitely know that word of mouth is huge and having good reviews. So we're doing, what we do after someone bought our product, we know it takes a couple of weeks until they see results. So we don't ask them right away, but after the cycle, like so 7 weeks after, I start sending them an email, if you're happy, please post a review. And sometimes it's just a matter of reminding people that we will, it's not that they don't want to do it, they actually will do it, but you just have to remind them. It's very easy to do via email. And then what we do, sometimes we give them just a gift card to get free skincare or something, a little incentive, and people do it. And it's a really good way for you to get, people want to talk about it, and they like it. And for us, it's good, we get good reviews on it.
I think the post-purchase experience itself opens up a whole new set of possibilities for you to re-engage your customers.
Exactly.
Question? Okay, well, how about some companies that are doing email right? Why don't we just go down the line?
So I'll start. I only notice the companies that I engage with. So we have 5 minutes, by the way, everybody. So if you think of any questions, think of them now. I am an avid sports fan, so I play daily fantasy sports, and FanDuel's email campaigns are great. They send me wrap-ups of performance, and they give me tips of like which players were in the which players appeared in the optimal lineups of the last week's football, and it keeps me really engaged, and they remind me of the tournaments that are coming up for this coming weekend, and I actually get psyched about playing daily fantasy through the email updates that they send me. So that's just one person that's impacted me. I think that does email very, very well.
Sounds like relevant content.
Yeah.
In a timely manner.
Relevant content in a timely manner. That's why I pay attention to it. I welcome their emails.
For me, one of my favorite is the Black and White store. I'm a big customer of them, and it tells you actually, I used to go to their store all the time and physically buy there, and I don't anymore since I joined their email list. They send me really good email with the content, they always give me a discount, which I like, but it's always relevant, and it's relevant to me. Same thing, that's why I look at it, and sometimes it's tips. Right now the holiday season, so when you want to wear, so if you're into fashion, you like this type of thing. Again, it comes back to the company.
The White House Black Market?
Yes, I always say the Black and White.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
their name is too long.
Yeah.
But they do a really good job. And Sephora in the beauty industry is also doing a really good job.
Well, you took Sephora away from me because I think they do wonderful work, and we all talk about it because they always come up in examples, and that's Amazon. I mean, I can always trust Amazon when I get their emails, and it's one of the few. They send me quite a few emails, and I know I can adjust that, but I really appreciate, okay, they know what I've ordered in the past, and they're giving me some suggestions, and actually I hold on to those suggestions, and it's very helpful. Another one that I absolutely love, and that's the Humane Society of Silicon Valley. I've been a member in the President's Circle forever, and they know what I'm doing, how much I donate, events that I go to, things that I like to do with my dog, and they really focus on personalization, so that they really nail that.
I'll be quick for questions, but Uber does a great job. Not one day I've ever thought of going to Lyft because Uber gives me so many emails that are not fluffy. It's like, hey, here's $2 off for the month. Like, use it as you will. They're good at that, the real-time stuff, and good offers too.
Any questions from the audience?
Everybody's getting ready for that wine.
Yeah.
We'll go around there. What is your best advice for a company that is known for over-emailing their customers,
Like Groupon.
like GoDaddy? We're working on it. I mean, how do you begin to wean yourself off of it? And we all know that the decreasing open rates are directly related to the over-emailing. We hear the complaints in our customer experience data. But teams are addicted to the revenue end, so how do you
Are your team actually talking, are you saying that you
We don't
have
talk to
different team, exactly, so you have different team that email the same database without talking to each other?
Yeah, we're working on that. We're bringing it all into a consolidated.
It's-
Now you have to talk to people before you can send
But
out.
it's difficult. I used to be at eBay, so eBay actually has massive database, one of the largest in the world, and it's actually an issue. eBay has more than one database that do not talk to each other.
Yeah.
And there's many marketing groups that email the database and have no idea that the other group also emailed them twice.
Yeah.
So it's really first managing the data, and it's talking as a team, figure out and come up with a calendar into who's emailing who and what.
It's internal workflow issues is really what it comes down to.
It's a process, and it's really having the group talking to each other. It's not easy to solve.
I said just quickly start with a bulk subscribe.
Unsubscribe everyone.
I'm serious. Like, figure out who has not opened an email in 6 months.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe them. Send them one final email that says, "Hey,
You're out of
we
here.
noticed you haven't read anything. If you want to subscribe, you're back on the list. Just press this button." And I found that like 5 to 10% of people will go back and do that, and now they're re-engaged. So people are like, "Wait, no, I am valuable. Like you weren't bugging me." Like, it's weird.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
No, it's a
You're right.
fantastic point.
Well, that's
a fantastic
interesting
point.
because I am a GoDaddy customer, and I get my monthly, this is your statement. They haven't been bothersome to me.
Maybe we cleaned it up. It's been like a year ago that this data kind of hit us square over the head.
Well, I think
That's
just
like, I guess,
on
too many.
the bulk unsubscribe, I think, speaking of community, that does seem to show a certain appreciation and respect for your audience, and I think that points to
Yeah. People respect candor and transparency for sure.
Yeah.
Great. I think we're just about out of time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, panel, for a lively discussion, and I thank you.
Moderator
Yeah.
for a lively discussion.
Thank you.
That's it.